What's going on, everybody? Good evening and happy hump day from rainy, cold upstate New York. It actually feels like football weather. It's like 55 and raining out there today. Hope you all had a great week. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Giants Collective. As always, joined by Adriana. I'll try to say her name correctly every time that I was perfect last week. We're going to try to keep that streak going. Chris over there, Anthony down there in the new location. Happy that you guys and girls are with us again. As always, big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring the show this evening. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. Check them out. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram as well. If you'd like to become a member, you just click the join button. You get the really cool emojis. You get the monthly member messages, and you get your name in the outro. When we get our outro back, what should be next show? Hopefully, we'll get that back. You see, the intro is not the shortest in the business anymore, which is a good thing. We do appreciate you being here as always. And because this is going to disappear, I'm just going to start with this one here from H50 Pharaoh. Thank you so much, man. He says, Giants Collective, please do a 53-man prediction on Friday. I don't care where a player was drafted or about the money. I just want the best players. Running back, Tracy, Scat, Turbo, Cut Motor, Ford over Fox, Fedoni on practice squad. Keep all the other tight ends.
I love the idea. Yeah, I saw the super chat before we went live. I said, yeah, we definitely should do that. I think it's pretty cut and dry for probably about 45 to 46 spots, but there's definitely a few questionable people, so it'll be interesting to talk about that. I like that idea. Now, the thing with those, I know from, and I'm sure you guys have done those videos too since you've been on YouTube. In my years doing it on YouTube, you could do your 53-man roster video, even if you get all 53 right. The team's going to change like a week before the year because teams make cuts, and then you snag a player or two. But it's still fun to get to talk about the roster. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It always is. Speaking of fun, it's been fun to talk about this team in the preseason. Adriana, let us know your thoughts on whooping the Jets' ass on Saturday.
It felt damn good. And you know what I also loved was Abdul Carter talking some shit to Jets fans because they deserve it. I love it. I'm like, welcome to New York, baby. Show them who's boss. Stupid little brothers over there. But it was great. I think it was great to see Dart continue to progress. I felt good about, Russell Wilson, the 80-yard bomb to Bo Collins. What's there not to love? I think it was Bo Collins who had that miscommunication on the next drive where, it ended up in the interception. That's what preseason's for. Figure it out now so it doesn't happen in the regular season. If Bo Collins even makes the roster, UDFAs, I'm not going to kill him for that. It is what it is. But we saw some good things out of the offensive line. Marcus Bowe looks awesome. He's put together 2 good weeks in a row. We saw some great stuff from Abdul Carter. I think Darius Alexander is slowly progressing. But I think right now around this Giants team, there's a lot to like. And, I know everyone's going to say, oh, it's preseason, it doesn't matter. But here's the caveat to that is that if the offensive line had given up 15 sacks in the last 2 games and Jackson Dart was throwing pick sixes and, our defense was giving up 50 points a game, everyone would be freaking out. So true. I think we can manage expectations and say, yes, it's preseason, but we put up 30 points in back-to-back games. Our offense looks functional. The offensive line is doing a good job. And, the defense is holding teams to losses. The Bills, it was 25 points. It was only half of that to the Jets. So I think collectively there's reasons to be optimistic, but like we say, cautiously optimistic, right? Obviously what they do on Sundays, it's what's most important, but I'll take what we're watching compared to Daniel Jones throwing a pick 6 against the Texans last year. So,
God. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was his first pass, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Chris, how'd you feel about it? We did the game together. How'd you feel about the performance?
Yeah, I mean, like Adriana said, it's preseason, so I don't want to get too hyped up. But at the same time, it's nice to have some optimism headed into the year. I mean, the Giants have had 2 straight games of 30 points. Like, when's the last time, preseason or regular? Maybe there was like 1 back-to-back game in the recent history where they had 30 points back-to-back, but I can't remember it. And, maybe my memory's escaping me, but it doesn't happen often. That's for sure in recent history for the New York Giants. So to see them go back-to-back weeks with 30 points, preseason or not, is encouraging. Jackson Dart, again, looked very strong. I was even texting Anthony about it. I was like, he looks great. I can't, I'm so excited the way that he looks. So, I think that's the most encouraging thing you take out of it. The offensive line, again, only surrendered 2 sacks. and they don't even have Andrew Thomas in the lineup yet. There's a lot to be excited about. So yeah, I'm pumped up. I'm excited to get this last game out of the way, and hopefully everybody stays relatively healthy. I'm happy to hear that Scadaboo's back. It looks like he at least will have some kind of role, hopefully, to start the season. The one negative, I guess, Evan Neal didn't look great. Adriana actually talked about that on a channel we were on last night. When you went back and watched the all 22s that Bobby did, Evan Neal got beat several times in pass protection. So that's one negative, I guess, that you could take out of last week. But overall, I think a lot of encouraging things. And I don't think most people thought Evan Neal was going to be a starter anyway. You're hoping that he could develop potentially into one and it could be quality depth to start the year. So a lot of positive things. The pass rush looks good. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Anthony, what'd you take out of the game on Saturday? What'd you think?
Well, I was really excited about it. I thought there were a lot of strong performances. I think that we're looking at a lot of roster battles. We talked about the potential 53-man roster. I think a lot of those back of the roster guys started to earn their spot in this Jets game, like Bo Collins. I mean, he's looked good all summer, but then connecting with Russell Wilson, being out there with the starters and making an 80-yard reception, that's going to go a long way. Cordell Flott going out there and having a pass breakup lined up against Garrett Wilson, that's going to go a long way for his CB2 job. There was a lot that happened in that game that I think is important. Preseason doesn't matter is what a lot of people say. I think that game really did matter to the Giants. It mattered to a lot of those guys competing for roster spots and for positions in the starting lineup. And I think that it mattered a lot for the team in terms of its confidence and its morale and getting ready for the regular season. Because, I mean, this team looked defeated after that Texans preseason game last year. I think that's when the writing was on the wall for how poorly that season was going to go. But now you've got two games, like Chris said, 30-plus points back-to-back, and you've got a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement around this young quarterback, around some of these playmakers. I just think that it's going to carry. That momentum is going to carry through, hopefully, tomorrow night's game and then into the regular season. I think there's just really positive energy week to week. We felt the energy being positive during training camp leading into the preseason, but the fact that it's carried through the preseason, hopefully that carries into the regular season. So I think it was an important preseason win. I know how important can preseason games be? Well, I think this is going to be one of the more important ones that we see just because of what it's going to do for the Giants' confidence going into the season.
Adriana said it perfectly. I mean, if the Giants are I love the cynics, if the Giants right now, they put up 65 points or whatever it is in two games. I'm not sure if it was back-to-back 30-point games. I think they put 34 up on Buffalo and 31 on the Jets. And people are like, yeah, it's just preseason. But like she said, if it was the other way around and we got beat 31-12, everybody be talking about, they're a bust and they suck and fire Daboll and everything else. Yep. So you really can't win in preseason. I think everybody wants to see strong performances from the players, obviously. And the most important thing is to stay healthy. But I don't know how you can be a Giants fan and look at the way this team has performed and think that it's not going to be at least a decent season where they're going to compete. Russell Wilson throwing an 80-yard pass, and we're not talking about a 7-yard slant that went 80 yards. We're talking 60 yards in the air, in stride. And what I love about Russell Wilson, if you saw what he did, like on the sideline, he went up to Bo Collins and gave him a big hug. He said, "You got to get to the end zone." And then he, was just joking around with him. But I mean, that's really encouraging because when's the last time we saw a ball go 60 yards in the air right to the guy in stride and almost take it into the end zone? If that's Malik Neighbors, it's a touchdown. I don't think there's any question about that. Jackson Dart looks amazing. His ability to just manipulate the pocket and to kind of improvise. You saw the screen pass when he just came over that one play to Theo, how he kind of sidearmed it under the defender and it was for a big play. It's those type of things where a guy can improvise. Those are things that the previous quarterback room couldn't do. You know what I mean? You didn't see improvisation from our quarterbacks at all. So the fact that Jackson Dart, I know you're not going against number ones, but the fact that he has that in his head and that's instinctual, I think that goes a long way for a rookie. And yeah, there's a lot of really good performances. Marcus Bowe has been awesome. And I think that is very encouraging when you see a 5th round pick come out there and he's been really dominant. Like you said, Chris, we only gave up 2 sacks. And one, it's because Jackson Dart got tripped up at the line of scrimmage. And if he didn't get tripped up, he was gone.
Dog, we said it during the game. He would have walked into the end zone from 40 yards out if that guy didn't make that ankle tackle, and that counted as a sack. The other thing I thought, I'm thinking about the game as you're talking. You brought up the word improv. How about the improv? It's something small, but how about the improv job by Brian Daboll I'm calling the game, Bad Dog. And Russell Wilson's in the play before, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, Jackson Dart's in the game. So the improvisation by Brian Daboll to throw Jackson Dart in for one play in the middle of a drive to kind of get him accustomed to thinking on your feet, being prepared at any point in time. I thought that was an interesting decision by Daboll as well.
Yeah, 14 out of 16 passing touchdown. And that's the other thing. The touchdown to Dolchich, you saw him completely fake out the linebacker as he took the ball and he gave that fake pit. I mean, he got, and as soon as he did that and saw that when it was zip, the ball was there. The conviction and confidence that this guy has, the swag, it's just an attitude we haven't had in years. So again, I think confidence goes a long way. You play like that, you're going to build confidence. We're obviously going to get another good look at him tomorrow. I don't know what the Giants are going to do as far as if Russell Wilson plays, it's probably for a drive. I can't imagine playing the starters very long tomorrow. I think that's more for positional battles. But as far as the game does go tomorrow, Chris, I mean, what do you expect from the starters? You think they're going to play a lot? Or you think that Brian Daboll is just going to maybe give them a drive and go?
I think they'll play, but not as long as last game because we kind of still have a pretty big break before the start of the regular season. I mean, this game is being played on a Thursday. We still have
week and a half.
2.5 weeks, isn't it? Or no, maybe it's a week and a half,
right?
Yeah,
or is it 2.5?
No, I think it's
it is 2.5. It is 2.5 weeks. Yeah.
Because next weekend's Labor Day.
Yeah. So I think they'll play for a drive or two. It won't be as long as last week. But yeah, I think Russ gets another drive or two, which I'm happy to continue to see. We talked about that on the show leading into the preseason. We thought it would have been a mistake not to play Russ, not to play the starters. I don't expect to see Neighbors. Obviously, they've handled him with kid gloves, but yeah, I think we'll see a drive or two from him, and then again a more expanded role from Jackson Dart. So it'll be exciting to see him again. But for me, the most important thing at this point, just get the team out of there healthy. We've seen enough positive over the first two games. If they score 30 points tomorrow, great. But just get out of that as healthy as you possibly can, so you're ready for Washington week 1. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to tomorrow, being done with it and being ready for the regular season.
Anthony, how much do you think the starters play tomorrow, if at all?
I think they'll get a couple drives, really just for the same reasons that Chris laid out there. It is a long gap between tomorrow night's game and Sunday versus Washington on September, 7th, I think, or 6th. So that's a pretty long ways away. I mean, I think that it's good to keep these guys in as good of shape as possible and keep them in a flow and in a rhythm. Like I was talking about the momentum from preseason week 1 to preseason week 2. I think you want to carry that into preseason week 3, and you don't want to go that whole extra time with that bye week before you get into week 1 of the regular season. So I'm hoping that they play at least a couple of drives. I wouldn't even hate if they played a whole quarter. I think that would be beneficial for the team. Obviously, like Chris said, you want to stay healthy and you want to make sure that nobody gets injured. You want to go with full force against Washington, but I think that there are ways that you can mitigate the injuries and still get your guys out there for those extra reps, because I know that they've gotten those first 2 games and that the starters have been featured in both of them. I'm really happy about that, but I still think it's different when you hit a regular season field, and I still look at this as a very new team, a whole lot of moving parts. Of course, there's a new quarterback. There's some changes on the offensive line. They might not be major changes, but they're changes nonetheless. There's a lot of moving parts on the defensive side of the ball that have never played together on a regular season field. So I think it's good to get those guys as many reps as possible to gel together, get that chemistry, and really get that communication down. I think one of those things that we really need to see improvement from is the Giants' run defense. It hasn't looked too good through the first 2 preseason games. I want to see that be a little bit better in this one, and I think that the starters have really struggled against the run as well. And I think that they could use some extra reps communicating, because I think when you're defending the run more than anything, that's where your communication as a defense really shows up, is in run defense. So get those guys out there, get them communicating, and get them a few more reps before the regular season, because week 1 versus Washington, that's a strong rushing team. That's one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. And the run defense does not look ready for the regular season just yet. So I think those starters should definitely, on the defensive side of the ball, get a few more reps in this final preseason game.
Adriana, how much do you think the starters play tomorrow?
I thought they weren't going to play at all, but now that there is such a big gap between now and this season opener, I'm kind of thinking maybe there's a possibility, but I don't think we're going to see Neighbors. He wasn't in the 11-on-11 drill. So I think, if we see some of the starters, it's still going to be without Neighbors and Thomas, and, Newbin was on the side today. So I don't think we're going to see him. So I think what's pretty tough about it too is the fact that you've got some of these starters like Andrew Thomas and Newman and whoever who have not all been on the field together. And at this point, they're not going to be probably until week 1 or maybe a couple practices before. So I'd like to see the starters. I just would like to see them go out on a high note before the season starts. And like Anthony said, the run defense, probably could use a couple more reps together. But I would say the one player that I'm most excited to watch is Cordell Flott. He had a nice game last week, even though he didn't get a ton of reps. And Joe Shane said it's a real cornerback battle. I really think that Banks has not lost the job. I think it's his to lose. But if Flott has a really good game tomorrow, does that make a difference? I don't know. But I'm optimistic. I'm rooting for him. I think Banks is the better one between the two. But, it also wouldn't surprise me if they start Banks and if he gives up a big play and has a bad attitude or whatever, if they throw Flott in there and kind of just do a rotation or something. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see Scat, who I think is probably going to be on the field a little bit. But with the season being so far away, the more reps, obviously, that all the starters can get together, the better.
Yeah, I think the defense might get more reps as starters in the offense. I really don't see Russ playing a lot, not more than one drive. I'd be surprised. And Jackson Dart, same thing. I think in the second half, you'll probably, I would guess you'll see more Jameis and more Tommy DeVito in the second half this time around. For the simple fact, you do want to stay healthy. But, to your point, you'd like them to get some reps together without question. Cordell Flott was good. One thing I wanted to mention, I forgot with Russ and that interception by Bo Collins. Russ, this is something, again, we didn't see. Russ threw that ball at the top of his break. Russ thought he was going out, and he went in, and ended up being an interception. But he didn't throw it late. He just, Bo Collins ran into the safety, and he should have ran to the pylon. And again, I'm going to put that on a rookie instead of a 10-year veteran, which happens. I mean, that's why you have training camp. That's why you have preseason games. So you can get on the same page. But that's one thing Russ did. He threw that ball to a spot. That's what you want your quarterback to do. So, again, people can talk about Russell Wilson's washed up and Russell Wilson's no good. And I'm thinking to myself, he took a lackluster Steelers team to the playoffs last year, and he did it without George Pickens for a lot of the years. So how bad is he really? He's certainly better than what we had. And you just see the way players respond to him, man. He's, again, even if his play isn't elite, his leadership, in my opinion, is. And I think it's just something this team hasn't had, especially when you got a young core of wide receivers. I mean, these guys are young. Neighbors is young. Hyatt is young. Wandale is young. Slayton's a veteran. He's been there this is his 7th year. He's like the old guy in the wide receiver room. So, and the tight ends are young. Like the Giants offense is a young core. Jackson Dart obviously is learning. I think Russ's most valuable asset is his leadership. I really do. He's kind of a coach on the field. So that's why I love Russell Wilson. I just think it was a great addition to this Giants team without question. So I hopefully, he just continues to kick ass in the regular season. That'd be great. One thing I wanted to bring up, Anthony, we'll start with you. I noticed that a lot of people made a big deal about Abdul Carter getting chipped on that one play. How big of a deal is that, really?
It's really not a big deal at all. I mean, listen, it was a welcome to the NFL moment for him, I think. He's going out there feeling like he's hot shit because he is hot shit. And so then he gets checked for a second, but that's fine. That's normal. It's football. I think Jets fans did their victory laps and threw a whole parade down all in New Jersey about that one rep that's going to have zero meaning for the rest of the season. It was a preseason rep. Who cares? It's over. And I've already moved on. So, I mean, listen, for Abdul Carter, probably not the smartest in the past to be talking crap like that on Twitter. But I think for Carter, he's so good. I don't even care. I'm not even going to fault him for it. Like, I know he's going to back it up with elite level play. So talk your shit. I don't give a shit. Just go out there and make some plays. You're a beast.
Yeah. Adriana, what'd you think? How big of a deal is it that he got knocked down in his butt?
I feel the same way. Like, I don't care. It was bound to happen at some point. I think that it's probably the last time we're going to see something like that. And, not everyone's perfect. They're not always going to have a perfect day on the field. He's been getting so much hype because he's looked so good during everything. And I'm sure this was probably just a reminder that he's not Superman, but I'm not worried about
Listen,
him for a second. I think the Jets needed whatever they could to try to talk shit to us because we smoked them in the preseason game. We've been in the playoffs a lot more recently than they have been. They signed 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers thinking that it was going to take them to the Super Bowl, and that obviously didn't work. So, they needed to try to talk shit about something. And if this is the best that they can do, God bless.
Chris, what'd you think about that?
I'm happy,
we watched.
I'm happy it happened. I think that's what preseason, especially for rookies, that's what preseason is all about. It's about learning, right? Well, that's a learning experience, right? That's a welcome to the NFL moment, right? It wasn't like he got demolished or thrown to the ground by an offensive lineman. It was a chip block that he didn't see coming. That's something he will think about next time that comes around. So I think that's actually a really good thing that it happened. The fact that Jets fans are going nuts about it. Okay, your tight end unexpectedly, chip blocked Abdul Carter and he fell to the ground. Okay, it's a preseason game. I don't really care as a Giants fan, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a learning experience for Carter, and I don't expect that to happen very often in the regular season. I'm looking forward to seeing him. If there's one player I'm pretty sure about on this team, other than Malik Neighbors and Dexter Lawrence, it's him. I think his talent is undeniable, and I think it's going to show early in his rookie year.
I think it was funny because Jets Twitter, it was a big thing all week. Jets fans were saying Giants fans threw a parade for an incomplete pass when Hyatt smoked Sauce a couple, was it last year or the year before? And it's funny because they're doing the same thing about the chip block and Abdul Carter. I think what Jets fans need to worry about is the fact that Justin Fields went 1 for 5 for 4 yards, and they were scared to throw the ball in any situation on a passing down. They don't want anything to do with that pass rush. So, yeah, listen, man, that happens to everybody. You're not going to win every rep. I like that that it seemed to light a fire under Abdul Carter. I like that. Yeah, piss that guy off. That's a good idea. Make him mad. We want you to make him mad. Yeah, do that. Just tick him off. Put a chip on his shoulder. Let's see what he can do. But yeah, I think it was welcome to the NFL.
Isn't that kind of a compliment to Carter that the Jets have to game plan their offensive philosophy around chipping him at the line of scrimmage with an extra tight end? For so many years as a Giants fan, I've seen our offense hindered because we've had to do things like that. We've had to leave in extra blockers because our quarterback play, because we couldn't trust our offensive line. It's going to be nice for a change, having to see opposing offenses have to do that. Having one less guy go out for a route because you have to account for Abdul Carter. You have to account for Dexter Lawrence, whoever it may be. So that's a good thing that offenses have to game plan and do extra things to try to mitigate the pass rush for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what the pass rush can do when we have Dexter Lawrence out there. I mean, obviously we talked about the lack of run defense and it has been weaker, but with Dexter Lawrence in there, and obviously that's a big missing piece right now. So I still concern myself with the run defense because I know that's a weaker spot, but
yeah,
I think it's going to be as bad as years past, but they are going to get a test right away when they take on Washington. There's no question about that. I don't know that Brian Robinson's going to be there. It seems like they want to get rid of him, but whoever that rookie is they have, I don't know that guy's, I forgot that guy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying they ran the ball just fine against Cincinnati on Monday. So it'll be a good game. We're going to win. I'm telling you right now.
By the way, I am thrilled that they're looking to trade Brian Robinson. At least whenever we call the games Bad Dog against Washington, he always impresses me when he plays the Giants. So I'm glad that they're looking to trade Brian Robinson. I'm not upset about that.
No, he had 140. Plus, we don't know what's going on with McLaurin. Like, they have a lot of things going on there. The Giants seem to be getting things going in the right direction because we talked about it. Scadaboo's healthy. Well, they're getting back anyway. They're practicing Scadaboo and Neighbors and Dexter. I'm sorry, Andrew Thomas. So that's definitely going to be a good thing without question. I'm having a hard time, and again, I put this on Twitter. I guess we'll delve into the 53-man roster next week. But Adriana, as far as the wide receivers go, who do you think is the odd man out here between like Collins and Hyatt and Washington and little Jordan Humphrey? Like who's the guy that they got to cut at this point?
It's tough. I think this is the first time in a while, like none of us probably envy the front office because between the tight end, the running back, and the wide receiver, I think they have some tough decisions to make. So I think Dalen Cambry is one of the guys who, because he's injured and not probably going to get playing time tomorrow. I think that's going to be points against him, unfortunately. I think Bo Collins kind of feels like he's a lock. The special teams coach, Mike Gabriel, was asked about him and had nothing but glowing reviews to say because he's used on specials too. Obviously, the flexibility and versatility there is really important. So I think Bo Collins is, I would feel the best about him. I think the biggest question now is about Hyatt, where I originally felt like he was a lock, and now I'm not so sure. And if you have Hyatt, either Smith-Marsette or Gunner, as those are 4 and 5, Bo Collins as the 6th, do they keep a 7th? Then it's between Montrell Washington and Little Jordan Humphrey. To me, they're both pretty much on the same plane, I guess. I think either one of them, you probably can't go wrong. They both play special teams. They're both bigger bodied receivers. They both have good connections with Jackson Dart, have done well during preseason, scored a touchdown here and there. So I would be happy with either one of them. But if that 6th spot is open and they only keep 6, I'm taking Bo Collins.
I think Carl Banks mentioned on Twitter, I think it was him that said, this is the first time in a while that the Giants are going to cut people and they're not going to like clear waivers. Like somebody's going to pick some of these people up. Chris, if you had to cut one of them wide receivers right now,
yeah, it's funny. We were on the New York Revival channel last night, and one of the people on the channel, I forgot which one of the 3 it was, said that they didn't think Smith-Marsette's making the team because he didn't play last week. I actually think the opposite. I think the fact that he didn't play, much like Graham Gano didn't play last week, I think it's because he's going to make the roster as a kick returner. So I have him on my roster. I do think Hyatt's making it, and I was kind of on the bubble with Hyatt before that last game. And it's not like he did a ton. He did make one huge play when the Giants were backed up on their 2-yard line. I think he had like that 20-yard catch or whatever it was on the nice curl pattern. But just the way that Brandon Brown has talked about him this week, it really has led me to at least believe that I think he is making the team. So I'm going to go with the obvious 3 with obviously, the best receiver in football with Malik Neighbors, Mr. Triple Crown, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. I think Hyatt does make the team. I think Smith-Marsette is going to make the team. And I think if they're going with 6, which I'm leaning they're going to, I think they go with 6. I would give a slight edge to Collins. I think he'd be my 6th right now, but I could certainly see Humphrey getting that spot. We're giving our preview to our 53-man roster, but those would be my 6 receivers right now, I think.
Yeah, I just figured that this seems like they'd be the toughest one because a lot of these receivers have performed pretty well this preseason. Anthony, if you had to get rid of one of those guys, who do you think it's going to be?
It's really tough to say. I mean, even Juice Wells Jr. had a nice play against the Jets, taking that screen from Jackson Dart inside down to the 1-yard line, broke a couple tackles. And I said that, I think, at some point on the show with Juice Wells, you can't really gauge what his talent is during training camp because he's a run after the catch, break tackles kind of guy. And there's no contact in those practices. So we needed to see him on the preseason field to even get a glimpse of what he's capable of. And maybe the Giants like him even better because they know that he's got that run after the catch ability. And that figures to be a big part of their offense this year is that screen game and that run after the catch. But I really like Montrell Washington too. The chemistry that he has with Jackson Dart, they've been connecting play after play throughout practice. And he's made a couple plays during the preseason. That juke that he had against the Bills, I feel like everybody kind of moved past that too quickly on that 30-yard gain down the sideline. He caught a screen, made a guy miss. I mean, that was the juke of the preseason for any Giants player so far. That was the ball carrier move and then made a 30-yard gain afterwards. I like him a lot, but I really like Lil Jordan Humphrey. I really like Bo Collins. It's really tough to tell. And what I think this really boils down to is the Giants have a tough decision to make, and this is a good problem to have. I don't really remember quite exactly how long it's been since we've seen this kind of a roster battle with this many contenders for 1 or 2 spots on the Giants roster. And I think that speaks volumes to the way that this roster has been built over the past couple of years in much better fashion to add depth and really find talent for the back end of the roster. All of these guys we mentioned too can contribute on special teams, making them even more valuable to the Giants. So anybody that they choose, I'll be happy with. I think Amir Smith-Marsette, like you said, Chris, is probably a lock to make the roster. But maybe I'll save this for the 53-man breakdown. I think that there is a path to get Turbo Miller on the roster, but it might come at the expense of Amir Smith-Marset. But again, I'll save that for number 53 as Baddog steps away and decides he doesn't want to talk about
Baddog didn't make the roster, apparently. But,
Baddog was unfortunately cut from the roster.
I hope he makes it, Anthony. I'm a big Smith-Marset guy, so I do want to see him make this team because I was so impressed with his kick returning. But yeah, I won't be stunned if he doesn't make the team. There's been bigger shocks than that before.
I freaking clicked the side of my mouse and knocked myself out of the freaking. Yeah, so what the hell just happened? I agree. This is a really tough decision because I think a lot of wide receivers have played well, and obviously Gunner and Smith-Marset, they're going to be your special team specialists, or one of those guys is going to be your guy. So it is tough because we've seen all these receivers make plays. And call me crazy, I've been called worse, but man, I don't know, man. I don't want to give up on Jalen Hyatt. I just don't want to give up on him. I probably should at this point, but I just feel like when Russell Wilson comes in and one of the first things he says is there's untapped potential there. I just feel like he can make something happen, but we don't know about his attitude, and there's a lot of things that go into this stuff that we don't see. Bo Collins has looked really good. Montreal Washington has looked really good. Like you said, Anthony, Juice Wells made a really nice play, and obviously he was Jackson Dart's teammate at Ole Miss. There's just a lot of guys, and you look at, again, we'll get into this next week, but you look at the tight end battle. I mean, it's another really good one. You look at the running backs. It's another really good, like there's a lot of talent, or a lot, at least positional battles on the offensive side of this ball, which we have not had in a really long time. So I think it speaks to the fact that Joe Schoen is now building a team. Like we hit rock bottom, and you can start to see, like I said, his drafts the last couple of years and the free agency moves that he's made have really improved this team a lot on paper. Still got to do it on the field, but I think that they have a very tough decision to make. I wouldn't want to have to make that decision. And there's going to be a few guys that they cut that are not going to clear waivers that are going to go to another team. Go ahead, Chris. I saw you.
I know. I was looking at the chat, and Minsu Kim, man, I hope and pray you work for the Kansas City Chiefs front office, because he said that he thinks the Chiefs should trade a second and third round pick for Jalen Hyatt. So I hope you work for the Chiefs, man. That'd be great.
That'd be pretty good. I like the rumor that went around on Twitter that Green Bay offered 2 firsts and a second for Micah. I was like, yeah, okay, because if they really did that, Dallas they'd fly him out there personally. They did get a jet on the tarmac immediately and fly him out to Green Bay for 2 firsts and a second for a guy that you might not even sign long term. So this is always a fun time of year as far as the rumors go. It's always great. We come to that point in the show when we want to hear from our sponsor. Again, big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this show. They have done that this month. You can use the code Giants Collective to get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Link is in the description. Let's hear from our sponsor. 90 seconds back after this. We'll answer your questions. What's up, everybody? Giants training camp is here, and man, do the Giants look different and exciting this year. That's why I'm excited to go and see the New York Giants in person this year at MetLife Stadium. That's also why I want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. The NFL is right around the corner, and MLB is in full swing. I love using SeatGeek. I'm thinking about going to that Giants-Chargers game at the end of September. I'm going to go with a couple of buddies. I'm going to go on the SeatGeek app. I'm going to look for 3 tickets. I'm going to click those 3 tickets, and I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to scroll around and see which seats I think are best for me, which seats are the best out there, and I'm going to pick the ones I want. It's very easy to use. SeatGeek has your back, and each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And know that Giants Collective came through for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for $20 off of tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase using the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring the video and the live stream. And let's go Giants. I know people want to see Chris's ad read. You got to talk to the clouds, guys. We don't get the sponsors on the show. You got to reach out in the cloud. Say in the cloud. You got to sponsor
even if you guys don't partake, if you want me to do these ad reads, buy a couple and maybe they'll come back to the channel. That'd be great.
That was great. This is one of my favorite things. It was good stuff. Let's hear from the chat. NPP, thank you so much. Good vibes and energy with the G-Men already.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it. We discussed the feeling around here, and there's just no question, man. It's a different feel. There's a different aura. Isn't that what the kids say today? I don't know what it is. There's a different attitude with this team. They're having fun. And you see a guy like Abdul Carter get knocked in his ass and doesn't take it laying down, comes out, fires back. Like, you want that. You want fighters on your team. You want guys that aren't going to just get bullied and go, oh, well. You want guys that fight back. And I feel like there's a lot of fighters on this team. And, yeah, it is a good feeling without question. Hopefully tomorrow it continues. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Goodbye.
Our guy, the legendary SPP Williams. Our guy from across the pond, 12:41 in the morning over there in England. Says, happy collective day. Can we start going back to calling Dabes a quarterback guru again? So dumb to say it was all Josh Allen. It was so dumb to say it was all Josh Allen considering Dabes' coaching career, Alabama, etc.
I'll tell you, and yeah, I definitely think obviously Brian Daboll is a very good offensive mind. There's no doubt about it. Did Josh Allen help? Of course. But another guy that deserves some credit now is the guy calling the plays that's on the field, and that's Mike Kafka. He deserves a lot of the credit too. We all remember the Giants offense in 2022 when he was calling the plays. They were top 5 in red zone offense. So I think he's a guy that deserves some credit along with Brian Daboll, at least the way that this offense has looked thus far, albeit the preseason. But I have no doubts you get this guy a better quarterback and a better offense. Brian Daboll will get this offense looking at least respectable, and that's what I expect this year.
Yeah, but also let's see a little bit more from Jackson Dart first. Like, we're not out here saying he's the franchise quarterback and he's going to be a top 10 in the NFL. Like, I think the biggest reason as to why Dart is going to succeed is because he has all the capabilities and skills and talents that Daboll specifically wants in a quarterback that he thinks will get them to the NFL level. So I think that's the biggest thing is Daboll finally got to pick his guy. Obviously, we're going to see whether or not it works out, but I think maybe we're finally seeing that the rate of Jackson's progression and the fact that he looks better every week, things like that, you can associate it with Brian Daboll and his quarterback expertise and his experience and everything like that, that he is going to help take Jackson Dart to the next level. But let's see it in a real game first before do anything crazy over here.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I'm really happy, Chris, that you brought up Mike Kafka, because if there's one person that I'm most impressed with so far through the preseason, that's exactly who it is. I think the play calling has been excellent through the first 2 weeks of the preseason because of the way that this Giants offense has been able to find its tempo and set a rhythm for these quarterbacks. I think all of the quarterbacks have looked like they're in a rhythm, and a lot of it is that quick pass here, quick hitter there, chunk play there, chunk play here, and it's allowing these quarterbacks to get really comfortable, and that's why I think they're standing in those pockets that sometimes do get messy. The protection's been really good, but also the protection's been really good because the time to throw has been very low. Kafka's calling all of these plays where the ball is coming out so fast, and he's getting all these players open and scheming them open with these different route concepts. I actually think this is like the number one takeaway that I have from the preseason. The play calling is significantly improved from last year. Listen, I think Brian Daboll probably just had a little bit too much on his plate last year. There was a lot going on, and he didn't have a lot of talent to work with. Now Kafka's back calling the plays. Daboll can focus on everything else and overseeing things as the head coach, and Kafka's got more talent to work with. He's got quarterbacks that he can scheme with and actually build an offense around, and I really think that he is achieving that so far, and I think that's one of the reasons why we see Jackson Dart having such immediate success in this preseason. A lot of it is the play calling.
Yeah, a lot to do. And now that we're speaking about the coaches underneath, another guy that I think needs to be shouted out, especially with the way that Marcus Bowes looked. How about Carmen Brasillo? I mean, the offensive line has been very impressive as well. So I think he's another coach, at least in the preseason, that has stood out a bit.
By the way, if you guys haven't done so, sorry, Anthony, I was just going to say, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're almost at 5,400 subscribers, so we're like 10 away. So let's get that because it doesn't cost anything to do that. Sorry, Anthony, go.
Yeah, the last point I was going to make is just I think it's important to always remember with these coaches that the Giants have coaching these quarterbacks, they really tried to assemble the quarterback guru Avengers here, right? They brought Brian Daboll, who helped develop Josh Allen, and Mike Kafka. Go read what Patrick Mahomes has said about him in the past. I mean, glowing review after glowing review. He loves that guy, and he says they had a major part to play in his development as a rookie. So these are the two guys that know how to develop a rookie. They coached under some of the best coaches, and they worked with some of the best guys in the league at that position. And so I think, again, we see how much success he's had early, and we have all this confidence in him. I think there's a lot of reason to buy in, even though it is early. And a lot of it really does have to do with the coaching that we're seeing so far. So really impressive stuff, not only from Brian Daboll, but Mike Kafka definitely deserves his flowers as well.
There's another thing, maybe I missed one here or there, but there hasn't been many penalties on our offensive line at all. Like this team has not had a lot of penalties. And so you talk about not only pass protecting well, but they're not hurting themselves either. And to your point, Anthony, it's probably because they're getting the ball out really fast, which you don't really got to worry about holding a guy, because if you're getting rid of the ball quickly and on time and you're not hesitating with the ball and your pass blockers are all, the timing is right, they're not going to have to worry about it.
You know what makes that more impressive, though? And I think that's a really good point you brought up. The only penalties that come to mind for me are James Hudson on the first drive.
Right.
The first game where I think he had 2 on the first drive. But what has been the one thing that has really stood out to you in terms of the passing plays that this team has run a lot in the preseason? For me, it's been screen passes. They've been throwing a lot of screen passes. A lot of times you will have a lot of penalties from offensive linemen on screen passes, whether it be a man too far down the field because of the mistiming of the play. So that's a good point you brought up about the offensive line and the lack of penalties in preseason. That speaks to the timing of the quarterback getting the ball out on time and the offensive line being disciplined enough to be able to hold their blocks and not scoot too far down the field. So it's a good point you brought up. Lack of penalties from the offensive line does stand out.
The other thing with the offensive line is, think about it, how deep Russell Wilson dropped back on that bomb to Bo Collins. There was a 7-step drop. Like, how many times are quarterbacks actually been able to make a 7-step drop without being on their ass in the 7th step where there's somebody in there? Like, he was able to get back in his back foot. He stood in there, was able to deliver a strike because there wasn't anybody near him. So, I mean, there's been a lot of really good performances, but the offensive line, and this is without Andrew Thomas. I mean, we've said this for years. If it could just be average, it could go a long way with this team. And with how good the defense is, if the offense is average, these guys are going to be in a lot of these games. And I'm telling you, man, Giants are going to take some people by surprise this year. Suraf Network, thank you so much, says the Giants finally learned the art of leveraging your strengths. Taking dart based on Daboll's experience with Josh Allen is an excellent example of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's his guy at the end of the day. And Joe Shane brought Brian Daboll back for a reason. And the main reason Daboll's here to begin with is because of his success with quarterbacks, as we just mentioned. Well, if that's the quarterback he believed in, you got to ride and die with the coach that you brought back. So no surprise. If that was Daboll's guy, that's why he's the quarterback.
Yeah, I think this is obviously, I wouldn't say I didn't like Jackson Dart, but I certainly wasn't like, we got to get Jackson Dart before the draft. I certainly would have been mad if they took him at 3. But man, at 25, to think, not a lot of pressure there. And again, Jackson Dart's personality is totally different than Daniel Jones. But think about Daniel Jones had to step into a team that really had zero direction. And he followed Eli Manning, the greatest quarterback in the history of this franchise. Jackson Dart's coming in onto a team that's rebuilding and is going to rebuild around him again, where he can sit for a year. And think about the quarterback he's following. So he really can't sit there and go, well, I got big shoes to fill here. So I think that also plays a part in he can just kind of be himself, and you don't have really big expectations to live up to. I mean, there was no way anybody was going to step in and fill the shoes of Eli Manning. That's a tough position for anybody to be in when you replace, like I said, the greatest player in the history of your franchise at that position. So I think the Jackson Dart thing is, I think the Giants played it perfectly. I really do. And I think it's great. And I'm probably going to run out of time. It's something I wanted to mention. I didn't get around to doing it, was the trade rumors about Jameis Winston. And that, Anthony, tweeted it out. It's Brandon Brown said, thanks, but no thanks. Jameis is a Giant, and he should be. He's 2 years, $8 million. You don't get rid of that guy. Unless someone's giving you like a second round pick, then I'm like, oh, okay. But for a late round pick, nah. The hell with it. For what? You're going to get a special teamer in the 6th round for Jameis? I'd rather keep Jameis Winston all day, every day. Plus, you see Jameis eating the pizza. Come on.
He just has so much value and brings so much to this team that, again, unless we're getting a 3rd round pick or better, which we're not, no one's that desperate, I don't think, to do that for the quarterback position. Maybe at the trade deadline, it'll be that different. I doubt, but I just think he brings a lot of value to this team. And look, we have watched this football team for the last few years have to play 3 different quarterbacks. And if we're in the scenario where we're actually winning games and look functional, but God forbid, Dart gets a concussion, if, Russ is out or whatever, like, we all would rather see Jameis Winston. I don't want to see Tommy DeVito. Enough is enough. He's not going to win us football games. And, we just have a better chance and are going to have more fun watching Jameis Winston, who's actually going to sling the ball down the field. And again, we signed him to a 2-year deal. He's brings a lot of value to Dart. Dart is beyond thrilled to be in the same locker room with him. So I just think it wouldn't make any sense at all to do that.
Hey, Jameis made a great play rolling to his right and firing it down the
throw the entire game. That might have been better.
Yeah, that was awesome. Of course he didn't end up throwing an interception, but that's Jameis. We know what we get with famous Jameis. It is what it is. But to your point, Adriana, how many years in a row now have we gone through 3 or 4 quarterbacks on this team? It seems like for the last 3 years we've been out of our 3rd or 4th string quarterback. So Jameis is a giant. They're not going to trade him.
At $4 million for one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL, which is what I think he is. I don't think he's quite a starter, but I think he's one of the better backups in the NFL.
It's not so we paid Drew Lock, Chris.
It's probably more valuable to have a especially when you have a young quarterback like Jackson Dart, a guy to learn under. It's a lot more valuable, in my opinion, at least, to have a guy at that affordable of a salary for him to learn under than a 5th or 6th round pick. $4 million for backup quarterback in today's NFL is nothing. Backup kickers get close to that, for God's sake.
Right.
So, and we're going to need one next year because Russ isn't going to be here, and we're probably not going to have DeVito. So you keep Jameis for the 2nd year. DeVito is not the backup to Dart next year. It's just
right. Yeah, that would not be good. You don't want to go in like that without question. So
yeah.
Age 50, thank you so much. My prediction, Dart Vader will start against the Bears. If it's earlier, Russ is hurt, sucks, or Dart took a big step forward. I don't want him playing the Eagles this year unless it's in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you hit last night on the channel. That's the game I predicted as well. I'm starting to lean. Yeah, I'm starting to lean more towards Anthony's line of thinking that it's not going to last until the bye. But when I looked at the schedule, I said, I'm not putting him in before that first Eagles game, because if he struggles in that game, well, then he's got to go to Mile High on the road the very next week. One of the toughest places to play, obviously, because of the altitude. And then you got to come back and play the Eagles again. So that just seems like a horrible spot to throw him in my opinion. Now, if injuries happen or Russ is atrocious, maybe you do it. But for me, I think it's smart for the Giants to wait till after those 2 Eagle games before you insert him into the starting lineup. And I think the Bears game makes sense. It's on the road. A lot of people may argue the point that it's better to start him at home. I actually think it's not as much pressure if you're on the road than playing in front of the home fans. I think at Chicago could be a really good spot to start him, because you look at the games after that. It's not that it's soft, because there's no soft part of our schedule at all, but it's one of the softer areas of the schedule. I think it could be an appropriate spot for him to make his first start at Chicago.
Man, he ain't playing in Denver. That's Russ's revenge game.
Yeah.
Russ is going to go in there and whoop somebody's ass. That is Russ's. Russ, you don't think Russ has circled that?
Of course.
Course. Russ is ready to go. Adam, thank you, bro. How about those Yanks? Boy, this is the Yankees. They're hitting home runs. They look up at 9 home runs last night. Big G's my guy. Everybody knows I'm a huge Giancarlo Stanton fan. So what do they do tonight, Adam? Well, you got to bench them. You got to bench Big G's hitting the ball too hard. Aaron Boone's got to sit him down. Got to rest the guys.
I hate Boone.
Yeah, I don't like him.
But to be fair, we need him more against the Red Sox, but I'm like, you really are giving him a night off after one game. It's a little crazy. But the good news is Grisham hit a homer on his first at bat tonight. So
Trent Bonds. That's what we call him over here. Trent Bonds. The Yankees, they're hitting home runs. Hey, I've said this. I don't want to make it a Yankee thing, but during my Yankee post games a bunch of times, even though I'm down on them because they were playing like crap, I kept saying if they just get there, they're very streaky. So if they hit a streak when they get into October, who knows if the bullpen can hold, because the bullpen's been a major question. But again, I'm not going to turn it into a Yankee thing. But yeah, they have definitely turned a corner, and now they're like they got the top wild card spot. So it's amazing how quick things change. George, thank you so much. Bold prediction: Malik Neighbors finishes next season with 150 receptions, 24 touchdowns, breaking both Michael Thomas's 149 and Randy Moss's 23.
Hell yeah, 1,500 plus yards too. Add it on.
Wow. Can you imagine?
That season right there might get him into the Hall of Fame. Just that one season might do it.
I'll tell you what, that wouldn't be bad over 2 seasons, honestly.
That would be great over 2 seasons. 24
Yeah.
years. So
yeah.
sign me up.
But I definitely think that 100 plus receptions, easily if he's healthy. 1,500 yards,
if he plays all
10
seven
touchdowns without question.
Mhm.
I'm very anxious to see Malik and Russ play together because we haven't seen it. And the fact that the Giants offense, again, I mean, it's preseason, but back-to-back 30-point games, arguably without their 2 best players, Andrew Thomas and Malik Neighbors.
Mhm.
So, that's pretty good. I stop, Giants, stop. Don't do this to me. I can't. You can't get me all worked up and then have a shitty season. Don't do this to us. We don't deserve it. Just you're playing well. Play well this season. Let us pump our chest out there for a little bit. Just for a little bit. Don't let me just have to do it in August. Let me do it in October too. Age 50. What are your thoughts on Christian Wilkins?
I actually like the idea of Christian Wilkins now after seeing this Giants run defense and how it's been a little bit shaky and how nobody on that interior defensive line. I mean, Roy Robertson Harris has been pretty good, but you have to keep in mind in a 3-4 defensive front, you're going to have 3 interior defensive linemen on the field. I don't know who that third guy is going to be. It doesn't look like Darius Alexander is ready to be that third guy. And I don't think I have full confidence in the guys like Jeremiah Ledbetter, Elijah Chapman, Jordan Riley, any of those other guys that we're talking about, DJ Davidson. I don't know if they should be realistically starting in that 3-man front. So I'm open to the Giants finding outside help. And when healthy, Christian Wilkins might be the best run defending interior defensive lineman not named Dexter Lawrence in the league. And he's also Dexter Lawrence's best friend from Clemson. So I actually like this idea. I don't think this is that crazy. And I don't think he's going to be that expensive because he's coming off of that injury. He has some weird stories surrounding him and his time in Las Vegas. So as long as those check out and they get sorted out, and he's open to coming to the Giants, and the Giants don't think he would disrupt the locker room in any way. I don't think he would, by the way, because him and Dexter Lawrence are so tight. Yeah, I think this would be a good move. I think you could probably free up $3 to $4 million in cap space and go ahead and sign Christian Wilkins. And right there, I think overnight your run defense goes from a weakness to a strength. It's the one thing that you needed to fix. I think it gets fixed right there. So I like this idea.
What do you guys think about Elijah Chapman in the backfield? Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good as a fullback. He
did.
leveled.
I didn't see that coming, but it was entertaining. Get him in on the tush push.
Yeah.
And maybe we might have some success there.
I like Chris and I when I think it was when Joe Judge was the coach, we would always cheer when they lined up in an I formation because they never did it. Everything was out of the shotgun. So when we saw I formation, hey, I formation. Yeah, I like that, man. Put the big fella down there in the goal line with Scattermoo behind him. Try to stop that train. It ain't happening. SPP. Thank you so much. Why do you think Kafka stayed?
Lack of options. He didn't call plays last year. Lack of options. The only reason why he got interviews, if we're being honest, is because of the Rooney Rule, right? Because he's like 1/10 Puerto Rican or whatever he is. So it fills the quota of a lot of these teams. But yeah, I think the biggest reason why he's back is because he kind of got demoted, right? This season, he was no longer calling the plays. So I think he probably had an agreement with Daboll that he likely was going to get the call the plays. And he said, all right, I'll come back for another year. And with a new quarterback, if he looks good, I may get a head coaching job somewhere. So I think it's a good spot.
Yeah, he could showcase his talents this year and get more offers than he did last year. I think that is why he stayed. I think this was the best opportunity for him to get another job. Because if the Giants do, score, say, 24 points a game, which is monumental for this offense, if they're able to do that, he's gone. He's going to get a coaching job someplace. If it's not in the NFL, it'll be in college. But that could be why. And Joe Shane told him, you don't have to get my Starbucks anymore. So Kafka's around. The good man, True Blue. Thank you so much. Play calling looked like it was bad last year because quarterbacks were incompetent. They consistently didn't see or missed wide open wide receivers. Had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, a ton to do with it. Yes.
Yeah, I think just when you have better talent, you have more options for play calling. I mean, Anthony, were you the one that mentioned the flea flicker or whatever it was, where the guy was wide open down the field, took a sack? Yeah. So I mean, perfect play call and horribly executed. So yeah, play calling is one half of it. The players got to execute the plays. I think
I will say he's probably going to not do well as the starter with the Colts. I love the nickname. It's much better than Danny Dimes.
Oh, Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good nickname. Probably won't work, but it's a good nickname.
No, I mean, it might be the Temple of Doom for him. We'll see.
Well done.
Best Indiana, yeah, this is the best Indiana Jones movie there is. Corp, thank you so much. NFC, New York Giants trending up, Cowboys trending down. Agreed. Vikings miss playoffs, Seahawks make playoffs. I could see that. AFC Raiders trending up. Boy, Ashton Genty is a beast. Broncos trending down. Really? I don't know about the Broncos trending down.
I actually think the Broncos are trending up.
Yeah.
Steelers miss playoffs. I can agree with that. Bengals make playoffs. I agree with that one. The only thing I think I would disagree with there is the Broncos. I think Bo Nix is a lot better than I thought he would be, and he got off to a slow start, but he was really good down the stretch. I think Kansas City's coming back to the pack a little bit. I still think Denver's better than the Raiders. And the Chargers are just kind of
I'm going to disagree with one
division.
I'm going to disagree with at least one, maybe two. I'm going to go 1.5. I'm going to disagree with Corp on top of the Broncos one. I don't think the Seahawks are making the playoffs, but they certainly could. I rule them out all the time, it seems, and they surprise me. The 49ers aren't as strong as they once were, but I just don't think the Seahawks are very good. I think Sam Darnold was much better last year than he's going to be this year, being that he's not in the O'Connell offense anymore. He doesn't have the weapons that he had over there, but we'll see. Maybe he'll surprise me like he did last year. And the other one that I half disagree with, and I hate to say this because I'm a Giants fan, I'm not ready to say the Cowboys are trending down yet. Now, the Cowboys are not going to win a Super Bowl, and the Cowboys could very well win 7 games this year, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Cowboys win 10 or 11 games. They always seem to be a team that finds a way to win 10 or 11 games. So I could see it going either way. I'm not high on them. I'm not saying they're trending up, but I'm not yet ready to conclusively say that they're trending down.
I think they are.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it, Chris.
They're just screwing things up so badly with Micah. If he's not on the field, it's going to ruin the camaraderie, the everything. Like, that guys in the locker room are just like, what the hell is going on? And look, Adam Schefter is not right all the time, but when he comes out and says he thinks they're headed for a divorce, things are not getting better over there. I think Micah's pissed. He's disrespected. I would not put it past him to sit games out until he gets traded, and then they're going to lose games without Micah, and Jerry is going to have to give in and trade him. I don't know if Micah will end up accepting whatever offer they try to give him. Who knows? But I also think the Bengals are not making the playoffs. Did anyone watch them against the Commanders the other night? Their defense is horrible. Their offensive line was also not good. Joe Burrow's running for his life. And if they don't sign Trey Hendrickson, it's not getting better for them.
Yeah, the Cowboys, to me, and Micah, that's obviously hurts them badly. Like I said, get your money, Micah.
I'm just of the belief, guys, though, knowing the Cowboys, I feel like it's a soap opera. Like, I feel like it's for drama, and before the year starts, Micah Parsons is going to be there.
Maybe just missed week 2, but their run defense and the running game suck. It's not.
But I think Micah is really pissed. Like, I don't think he's messing around. I think if it's up to him and his agent, he is going to get out of Dallas, and there's going to be another team. Maybe it's the Bengals, although they want to pay Hendrickson, so it won't be them. But someone is going to be willing to give up a lot for Micah, especially, if he really sits out until the trade deadline and a team is close, but they're missing that one guy.
Go to the Chargers.
I don't know.
Get out of the
after week 4, he can go to the Chargers.
Yeah, just get out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that'd be the trade. Trade deadline. So week 6. Just get him out of it. Get him out of the NFC.
Yes.
8 week 8. Get him out of the NFC. NPP, thank you so much. He says thoughts on Bobby O trade rumors. I would write. He's not going anywhere.
Who's going to play linebacker? No, we can't trade him. Not in season like this. No.
there's always trade rumors. This people just need something to talk about right now. And, they're making up a bunch of stuff. Like, I see all this time breaking Eagles call about Trey Hendrickson. I'm like, no, he didn't. Shut up. I'm like, I'm going to start making up shit now. Giants called about Micah Parsons. Dallas is interested in Trey. Get out of here. Get out of here. Speaking of which, where's Tuto? Hey, you haven't seen Tuto in a while.
Tuto.
I need somebody to tell me about Fat Dumbo. Daboll. Oh, boy. Thank you, bro. He says, everyone is excited about the defense and the players, but is Shane Bowen going to call the right freaking plays this year? It was horrible last year.
I don't think he had a lot to work with last year, honestly. Right. I think, yes, there were some pass rushers out there for sure, and a lot of them got hurt. Kayvon Thibodeau missed time due to an injury. Dexter Lawrence missed a significant amount of time due to his injuries. And then we had Brian Burns playing through several injuries. So everybody that was of quality on the defense last year was banged up, and even some of the young players.
Newbin missed time too.
Newbin, that's who I was going to go to. Yeah, even some of the young players. Newbin missed time. Drew Phillips missed time. There were a lot of injuries on that defense last year. And didn't Bobby Okereke even have a season-ending injury? Am I wrong about that? Yeah, so there was just injuries everywhere. I don't think he had a lot to work with. And I think that now he's got a lot more talent and a lot more depth. So I do think Shane Bowen – I shouldn't say that I think he's going to be so much better, but I think this defense now is kind of idiot-proof. So if he finds a way to mess it up, I don't know what to say because this defense has too much talent.
Yeah,
I agree. I also think he knows he's fighting for his job too, and he's finally got some good talent to feel like he can probably make some more things work. And I know we've talked about this because, we were also involved in camp and everything, that we've saw more different looks at camp than we've seen from Shane Bowen in the last year. We saw guys blitzing like Micah McFadden, Drew Phillips coming off the side. Then you add Abdul Carter to the mix, a healthy Bobby O, Dexter. I think it's fair to still have some concerns around stopping the run because I think that is going to be a concern. But if they can win in other areas and Bowen can add that creative element to it, which he should be able to, then, there's no reason why the defense shouldn't be good this year.
Yeah, I think this defense is perfect for Shane Bowen because he doesn't like to blitz and you can get pressure with your front four. I mean, that's a big thing. But if he does choose to blitz, your secondary is so much better than it has been.
That to me is the biggest key, Baddog, because because to be honest with you, I said the same thing about Bowen last year. I said this defense is perfect for him. We got Burns. I thought Kayvon would take a step up, Dexter Lawrence, but the secondary was bad, and we knew it was bad going into the year. I think the improved second, and Abdul Carter, of course, is a big addition, but I think you hit it on the head. I think the improved secondary more than anything else is what's going to allow Bowen to be a lot more successful this year.
Yeah, because he can be more flexible. You can bring Drew Phillips up into the box if you choose to. Like, if you need to bring up an extra guy to stop the run, you got to have a lot more confidence in your secondary to, be able to hold those guys off as opposed to maybe you're hesitant to bring that extra guy into the box because you don't want to leave your guys out there one-on-one. So it'll be interesting to see, but I definitely think this defense is massively improved on paper without question. So Shane Bowen better get it done this year. Sam, thank you so much. He says, can you guys talk about where Alexander is in his development and will he contribute this year? He's still pretty raw. He's got to get in the weight room. He's a rookie. He's an older guy. Anthony's mentioned a number of times he's coming off an injury. I don't think he'll contribute right away, but I do think the more he plays, the more snaps he gets, the stronger he gets, the more used to the NFL he gets. He will continue to get better, but I wouldn't expect anything maybe at the end of the year, but I'm not going to sit there and go, Alexander needs to be a difference maker this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play very much, honestly, at least early in the year, like you said. And he's kind of playing catch up. He's like a month behind everybody else. So, yeah, maybe late in the year he gets an expanded role, and that's not a bad thing. As we've talked about several times on this show, that's what the good teams do. The good teams do. You look at the good teams around the NFL, not that we're a good team yet. We're hoping we're getting there, but third, fourth round picks usually don't have a big role, at least to start the year for the good team. So that's also a sign that the Giants are improving their overall roster. The fact that you don't have to throw them in there day one.
Yep. Yeah, I think maybe we got a little bit spoiled. Giants fans got a bit spoiled because you look at the draft picks this year and you look at the first pick and he's unbelievable. And you look at what Jackson Dart's done, and he's been unbelievable. And even though Scadaboo's been hurt, He looked great when he was in practice, and you're seeing how good Marcus Bowe looks, and Verdoni is showing flash. So you're seeing this rookie class pretty much live up to expectations or exceed expectations, and people are kind of down on Alexander because he really hasn't flashed, but you can't expect every guy to come out and be that guy immediately. He's a third-round pick, so we can't compare him to the number 3 overall pick. He's not going to be Abdul Carter out of the gate, but you got to be patient with these guys. He is just a rookie. I think he'll be fine. I think some development, and like I said, give him in a weight room a little bit, he'll be okay. He's not going to be Dexter Lawrence, but he should be a serviceable player.
Yeah, that's all you want. Serviceable. Give me a serviceable player.
Cruzon, thank you, bro. Will the Giants be good at covering tight ends?
Hopefully.
YTD. I think they'll be a lot better. You add a safety like Javon Holland to this roster. Tyler Newbin's a year better, a year more advanced. So I don't know if I would use the term good until I see the evidence, but I think the pieces are in place for us to be able to guard tight ends. Drew Phillips as well. So yeah, I think we should be better for sure than we've been, specifically last year when we didn't have McKinney on the roster at guarding the tight end.
Yeah, that was a big loss, but we got a leader back there now, and the rookies do have another year under their belt and a year under Shane Bowen's system, and they should be better. Like you said, Chris, I wouldn't say good, but we should be better than we were last year. Marvin, thank you so much. Why does everyone in the fan base want the downfall of Russ? It's kind of awful.
That's just stupid. I don't know who wants that, but I'm sure there's people that do, because I think
they want to see start.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people want to see Jackson Dart, but why would you root for the downfall of Russell Wilson? If Russell Wilson's playing well, the Giants are doing well.
Right.
I want to see Russ win a Super Bowl with the Giants and retire on top. That's what I want to see. So, the opposite of the downfall. I want the rise again of Russell Wilson.
I don't want to have to play Dart until next year. I want Russ to take this team to the playoffs and have a great year. I don't get that, but I get the excitement of wanting to see the rookie. I get that, but I don't think most people are rooting for the downfall of Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't know anybody that's rooting for his downfall. I mean, Dart's gonna play eventually, but don't. Why? How can you root against Russ? How can you not like Russell Wilson? Sound like it's Aaron Rodgers, right, Adriana?
Don't get me started on that. But it's also like we finally have a competent quarterback. I know he's not perfect and he's not, the Russell Wilson that won a Super Bowl, but he's still so much better than what he had. Like, why don't we wait until we see a couple games before we decide whether or not, we're done with Russell Wilson? It's the same people.
And if we're being honest, guys, he threw the best deep ball we've seen in at least 4 or 5 years by a Giants quarterback.
80 yards.
And I feel like people are just like forgetting about that. And they're just, it's not like he looked bad in the preseason game. And that's without Malik Neighbors.
Right.
Yeah. I saw a stat that one throw, that 80-yard gain from Russell Wilson to Bo Collins, is a longer passing gain than any throw of Daniel Jones's career. So it really has been 6+ years since we've seen a throw like that from a Giants quarterback.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane. That's crazy. Sad. Grim Silo, thank you. Jackson, you've got a fucking dart in your neck. Old school. If you know, you know.
Classic film.
Yep.
I don't know that one. But I like the way Jackson.
Wait, you don't know Old School? Are you joking?
That's with Sean William Scott, and Will Ferrell.
Where he shoots him in the neck and he falls in the pool.
I never watched that. I don't like comedies. I never watched that.
Yeah, with the Trent gun. Yeah, and then they play the spoof. If you ever saw the movie The Graduate, when Will Ferrell when he falls into the pool in that scene, they spoof the scene from The Graduate when they start playing the Simon and Garfunkel music. That's a great scene. You got to watch Old School, man.
Oh, it's so good.
I like comedies. I have a warped sense of humor. So seeing somebody get an eyeball ripped out of their head, that's kind of funny to me. I don't know.
You got a dart in your neck, man. You got a fucking dart in your neck. It's great. You got to see it, man. You got to watch that scene at least.
Bear, thank you so much. Because if our run defense is one of our weaknesses, do you think we match up well against the Commanders and Cowboys the first 2 weeks? Commanders can run.
I don't think we match up well against the Commanders' defense.
Cowboys can't run.
Yeah. Cowboys better, but Commanders, I'm not saying we can't beat them. I actually think I'm getting prepared to say I think we're going to upset them. But that's the homer in me talking before the year starts.
Nah, we're beating them.
I don't think we match up well defensively against the Commanders. That type of offense scares me with at least what we perceive our weakness will be on defense going into the year. We still haven't seen Dexter Lawrence on the field. So that's like judging the offense without the quarterback on the field. Like, that's our best defensive player. So, there's only so much you can tell from the preseason. But, yeah, their offense worries me in terms of the strength of that offense is running the football.
To me,
but if they don't have McLaurin, like, are they really going to have a good passing game? Also, the Bengals defense is so bad. Like, our run defense is a little bit better than that.
Yeah. It is bad.
Their defense is bad. But again, I think if Washington, I think if they're running the football, I'd rather have that than Jaden Daniels with the ball in his hand. I'd rather them hand the ball off than Jaden Daniels scrambling around there and making plays with his arm and his legs. I'd much rather them just hand the ball off, honestly, because I think that's going to be tough. But again, we sacked him 7 times the first time he played him, so you never know. And
I'd be stunned if Washington's game plan going into the game, knowing that the Giants' weakness, or at least what we think the weakness is the run defense, is not to try to establish the run a lot early. I think and then they're going to look to open up the pass when the Giants have to, cheat up. That's what I think the game plan is going to be. So Giants run defense better be prepared. I think you're going to get a lot of running the football, at least early on in that football game.
Our guy, SPP Williams, just under the gun. Appreciate you, our buddy from across the pond. I just realized we haven't had the typical Giants season. We didn't get this is true. This is good. I can already tell. We didn't get Stafford, who gets injured. We didn't get Aaron, who messes up the locker room. We didn't draft our third overall or Sanders third. This season is different. It is funny how it does seem like good luck is kind of bestowed upon the Giants. Again, we've had guys injured, but they're all back to practice now as we get ready to ramp up for week 1. Andrew Thomas, Cam Scatteraboo, Malik Neighbors, like, they're all getting, back to practice. We've scored 65 points in 2 games. And yeah, man, the things that used to, the traps the Giants have fallen into, they haven't fallen into them. Knock on wood. And Anthony, you mentioned it, like, last year, the first pass against the Texans was a pick 6. That was already our season. This year, it's a totally different feeling. It's just crazy to watch an offense, preseason or not, be able to move the ball down the field and score touchdowns, not field goals. It's just much, much, much different.
I'm still stunned that Stafford was even an idea for the New York Giants. I am so happy that didn't happen. Even the injury aside, the fact that you would have to pay him a ridiculous extension, because that was the only way he was coming here, and you were going to have to give up pretty significant draft capital to bring him in. That I'm shocked that Shane was even entertaining that, but at the same time, he's trying to save his job, so I guess I kind of understand it. But that is great for us that did not happen, and it seems like that was a legitimate thought in Joe Shane's head.
Our resident Commander fans in here always talking shit. He says Terry's playing. Tell me how you know. Do you know his agent or the GM? Because what I heard last is they're not close.
I think he's going to play.
Even at the game last night.
I think he's going to play.
They're not close.
We'll see.
So he's just going to come in off the street and play week 1. I mean, they're running out of time.
Yeah, he's not even practicing.
I think he's trying to use his leverage before the year starts, like the 49ers receivers did. But maybe you might be right. Maybe I hope he doesn't. That'd be great for the Giants week 1.
I didn't hear anything about the game on Monday. They said they were hopeful Terry McLaurin they were gonna get something like in the morning or before the game, and none of it happened, and it still hasn't happened. And yeah, it seems like from what I'm reading, is they're kind of getting at a breaking point where they're really not getting close.
The guy I work with today is a big Jet fan, and I didn't read into it, but he told me there's rumors that the Jets are trying to trade for him. So maybe they do trade him. I don't know. I'd be happy if he's out of the division, because he always does well against us.
He does. He's a good receiver. But I didn't hear that anything close to him playing. I think that's just speculation at this point. But with that said, that brings us to just under the wire again. Yankee Boy Fly says, what up, y'all? Just saying, I'm definitely team in the cloud. There you go.
Yes. Get yourself a pack. I don't remember what the markdown was, but get in the cloud so I could do another one of those.
Was it 25%? I think that's what it was.
25%. So So you get 200 milligrams for 25% off. So that's not bad. That's like getting a few extra candy for free.
That'll last you a while, huh?
Hog media watching. These guys are in demand. You gotta. It's 4. By the way, it's 4:20 somewhere. I mean, what's 4 hours behind us? It's 8:20 in New York. It's 4:20 somewhere. Welcome because you got it, baby. Door Gunner, thank you, bro. Expect a better running game, quick passing game as we spread out the Giants' defense. That neutralizes the pass rush, even though we have a better line.
I agree. That's exactly what I expect Washington to do. And we'll see how the Giants are able to combat it. But if the Giants are gonna have success against your offense, Door Gunner, I know you're a Washington fan. It's going to start with the run defense because they have to be able to get Daniels into, even though when you play Daniels, there is no obvious pass situation. Even 39 is not an obvious pass situation because he could take off and run with it, but they have to put him in more predictable situations where we could get that pass rush and get after him. So, and it's going to start with the run defense, both, stopping his legs and, even Deebo Samuel's a threat in the run game. So they're going to be tough to guard against. There's no doubt about it.
Deebo Cheeseburger Samuel. You guys are on fire. They didn't want us to get out of here. And then cruise on. Thank you so much. Both Burns and KT are good against the run. I noticed offenses don't even try running at the edge. It seems like 99% of the time it's right up the gut.
So is Carter. He's good against the run too, and that's definitely going to help.
Yeah, and maybe they line Carter up inside on plays that they think they're going to run. I don't know. It'll be interesting. The Giants' defense is better, but I don't think there's any question. Our biggest concern is the run defense between the tackles. I agree. I think that's where we're going to struggle on defense, but you have to figure it out, because you can't just have teams laying on you all game because that's how you lose. You lose that time possession. Your guys get tired. Those are body blows.
I think the improved secondary is going to go a long way towards improving the run defense because now I think you feel more comfortable cheating up a little bit, stacking the box a little bit more because you feel like the guys behind you could cover an extra second or two. So we'll find out, though, when we go up against Washington. I'm looking forward to it.
Go ahead, Audrey.
Dan Quinn said in relation to this that Terry's off the pup, but they're not any closer in negotiations. That was just part of what they should be doing at this point. So I don't think it really means anything.
Terry's off pup, won't be missing checks. You get a lesser Terry. Terry needs to sit out week 1.
I think we're definitely getting a lesser Terry week 1, but I'm leaning he's going to play.
I think he plays. How is he going to sit out of that? I mean, week 1 with Jaden Daniels going into year 2, I think they'll find a way to get him on the field.
You got to get your money for Terry. You make a stand. You make a statement, Anthony. You don't play that week. You let the Giants whoop your ass, and then Washington goes, "Oh, here's the bag."
We saw Zeke do it, right? Zeke held out for a week or two with Dallas, right? And then he got paid, right? That happened.
Yeah. So Emmitt Smith did it in '93, and they lost the first 2 games, and Dallas goes here. So Terry needs to sit out week 1. Commanders need to lose, and then that's called supply and demand. And then, oh God, we go here. What do you want? Right, here's a blank check, Terry. That's what we need to do. Terry, you listening? That's your play. Door Gunner, thank you again, man. Better lines so our tight ends and wide receivers don't have to chip every play to help tackles. More 12 personnel with 2 tight ends going out.
I agree with you, Door Gunner, in most instances, but not against this defense. I think you're going to have to leave those tight ends in against our pass rush.
Yeah, this pass rush is way different than it's been in previous years. You had an Abdul Carter and a Burns and a Thibodeau and a Dex and Okereke, and we got Micah McFadden, who is one of the better blitzing linebackers in the NFL. The Giants have a lot of flexibility in the front 7. So, and not to mention, you can bring up guys like Drew Phillips and Tyler Nubin closer to the box when you have a better secondary. You're not going to know where it's coming from, and they can bring pressure from all over the place. We've seen Abdul Carter line up in multiple positions on the defensive line, so. It'll be an interesting matchup. I always feel like we match up well with Washington. Even though they beat us twice last year, they didn't blow us out. I mean, we had some things go against us in game 1. We had no kicker. I still think that we had to go for it on 4th down and 8. Now Neighbors dropped that pass, but we would have kicked a field goal there. It would have been a 40-yard field goal. We didn't kick it.
I know we got to end the show, but I'm just thinking about this as you were talking. I peeked ahead to week 1. And I looked at the spread. Now, normally the cardinal rule is when you're on the road, the home team gets 3 points, right? With the spread, it's 4.5 points. I thought the spread would be much bigger. In Washington, the Giants are only 4.5 point dogs. I was surprised by that. Now, I think it'll be a close game, but I thought it'd be a bigger spread.
So that's why I said 6.5.
Yeah.
Dorgunner says the secondary is, how's our secondary cooked?
We got upgrades this year.
I think he's saying
Better.
Washington's secondary is cooked.
Oh, their secondary is cooked. Yeah.
Their secondary is not very good. Malik Neighbors should go for 100 yards easily in week 1.
Yeah.
200.
Let's do it.
Dorgunner, you got to worry about going over the top this time. You don't have to worry about that. That's one thing. We can talk about our defense versus your offense, but what about your defense versus our offense and a quarterback that's not afraid to throw the ball 60 yards down the field? What about that? What about an offensive line that's much improved and a guy that can actually tell the lineman where to go on a blitz and how to pick up a stunt and everything else? It'll be a good game. It's always fun. Dorgunner says no BSJ and Forbes. Forbes sucked. I'm glad we ended up with.
I was kind of hoping Forbes would be out there so we could see Neighbors run him over, but yeah.
Forbes is not. Forbes is not it. With that will bring us to the end of another edition of Giants Guy. I appreciate your generosity, guys. Girls, really do. It means a lot to us. You can also do us a favor, hit the thumbs up because that helps out enormous. Make sure you guys subscribe, ring the bell. We'll be live again on Friday. As always, big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring the show tonight. Again, use the code Giants Collective. Anthony's pointing right down there. You get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. I said that again. Link is in the description below. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram. And again, we didn't pick up any new members tonight, but you might want to be a member during the season. So if you choose to do that, just click that join button. You become a member, you get your name in the outros, monthly member messages, and you get those really cool emojis that only the members get. So with that said, thank you guys and girls. And for John, Chris, and Anthony, we'll see you on Friday. Giants got a game tomorrow. Let's go Giants. We'll see you in a couple nights and be gone. Peace. Let's go Giants.